we go. Because it's the brain-body connections that we're really talking through. Because when you have problems where you can't stop yourself from cursing or lashing out, that means the body is in the lead of the brain, and that you are more likely than not responding through states of mind. And I always go back to the question, what happened or what's happening? Because you have to realize that you are not receiving the information in a way that allows you to postpone your environmental influences that are causing you to lash out. I always direct you to study home, school, neighbor, and workplace dynamics in your life space for problem-solving tool, because you need the physics to ground yourself when we're talking about environmental stimuli. Why are you misbehaving? And why can't you control your behavior? So let's get to the other side. Brain-body versus states of mind. Brain-body means that the brain is involved in the reception of contact. So you pause because your sense of feel for self is involved. And then you have to understand that you're ignoring signs of care when you ignore that you have this sense of feel for self, to understand what you're doing in the environment with other people when you curse or lash out. I'm talking about aggression, and I'm talking about mental health. I'm talking about mental illness. I'm talking about how you stop yourself from spreading pain, hurt, and sadness as an environmental stimuli that causes other people to feel the anxiety in your physicality. And what are you trying to do? Are you looking for fear, or are you looking for anger? Chaos. But I go back to the essence of why we talk about the brain leading the body, because when you move through a sense of feel for self, that's the brain-body connection. And all I'm saying is you care about self. I'm not saying you care about the other person. You're trying to stop yourself from falling, because you understand unless you are in danger, you have no business ranting and attacking people, because that backfires. And where does it lead you? To more aggression, a state of mind where it's fixed, where now everybody, when they think about your behavior, they reflect on the mood that they witnessed or that they continue to witness whenever they make contact with you. It's like you just can't stop yourself. You can't help yourself. So that's why you practice understanding brain talk with Dr. Slaton Live, helping you learn the brain's body. Brain-body connection, how to move through that inner thinking that you're going through that's causing you anxiety because you can't get to levels of performance. I'm talking about analytically. When you're looking at yourself from the inside out, you can't get through the interaction because you have a damaged sense of feel. You can't deal with it, the reality. And how do you move through that? Again, I go back to the grounding point, because if you live inside a home with other people and other people are aggravating you, how do you respond? Now, I said respond. I didn't say how do you feel them out. See, when you respond, you're responding because of the environmental stimuli that they represent as they make contact with you. And we don't move the interaction because physical aggression is negative transformations of energy. And that's non-cooperative. So that's not participatory in terms of brain-body interaction. Brain-body means your brain pauses and you collect a sense of feel to understand the crises of self, to grab yourself and say, wait a minute, let me shake me up, let me check me before I move forward, so that I have a sense of feel for self, other people, and the environment, so I don't get locked up. So here we go. Because I'm talking about brain-body connections, but through brain talk, and I'm saying brain talk is understanding your inner voice and understanding how the brain talks back and how you refuse to listen because you don't believe in your sense of feel. And it's frightening to be able to hear yourself think and then try to understand what's real and what isn't real. That's why I ground you in those 4 places, because the crises of interaction happen in one of those places. We all share them. The neighborhood, the outer environment, the school, the home, the workplace. We're talking about the economics of self. We're talking about self-learning, self-thinking, self-responding. Wait a minute, here's the key, self-living. You can't live through pain and hurt and sadness. People try, but as they get older, you see what happens to them as they get older. I'm saying even if you look out right now and we're in a volatile world and you see all the pain, hurt, and sadness, and what are you grappling with the most? The signs of even worse behaviors than you witnessed yesterday. And that's because you're acting out. And you're acting out because you don't know how to shift the pain and sadness and hurt that emanates from you because you're being controlled by the environment. And your brain is not in the lead of the body. The body, mind, is in the lead of you. And you're in a fixed state of performing because that's your comfort zone. You can't deal with the interaction of self, learning through self to understand why you do the things you do. Now, this is not psychology. This is human system science. And we're talking about a sense and receive path research. And we're talking about is how do you understand self in relation to other people and the environment where you learn what happened and why you continue to do things that you continue to do. And the fact that you can stop doing the things that you're doing when you practice learning self from the inside to the outside, understanding how the environment is influencing your behavior, and then understanding what it feels like to release positive energy with the brain and lead of the body that you can analytically dissect when you study the body as a performance of brain activity. So what you were thinking about, you release that energy and it creates a feedback cycle. And in the feedback cycle, because it's physical, the environment is physical, other people are physical, you are physical, the data comes back to you. But are you ready to interact with that information flow? So when it has contact with your receive path, you got to cooperate because the brain is the lead of the body. The brain understands what it does to help support you in your recovery. And you have to be aware that you have to show signs of care for self so that information moves into your sense and receive path so that you can begin to process the experience of self in relation to other people, because that's what you just now said. You release the energy because you want to study self and other people to get your data feed. So in doing so, you take the environmental stimuli coming back at you, but now the receive path is accepting it because the receive path is dissecting that negative energy and trying to play it back to you so you can see that the brain, when the brain's in control of the body, what the differences are in your personality, in your attitude, in your character, or in your behavior. I don't identify the content in those 4 things, but that's what you're trying to change because they're fixed environmental stimuluses that we all chart to let us know what other people feel like when they're interacting with us. All I'm saying here is that brain talks about understanding self-talk and how the brain talks back. And when you self-learn how to learn to live inside your body, you are learning the brain. And when you learn how to learn the environment, you are learning about the brain's body because the brain's in the lead of the transaction. So you can comfortably understand that you are now developing a knowledge base on self-control. See, I don't know if you've ever been taught that, but self-control means the brain is in the lead of the body. And so the body doesn't do anything because now you're aware of your power to manage, control, and focus the body so that when the feedback comes to you, you're aware of that contact because you know what it feels like, because you've already felt the experience of self. So all I'm saying to you, there's no trickery. There's just understanding that the brain is a neurologic system and that the body is an environmental system. And then the open environment, the world, is what we're talking about as an influencer on your behavior as why you are the person you were. But when the brain's in the lead, you're changing moods and states of mind because you're becoming more aware of forward and backward feed, how the brain, body, sense systems work with environmental neurologic influencers. And the difference or the game changes when the brain's in the lead, then the environmental stimulus is blunted because you're understanding how to read the environment and pause before you respond, which means you moving through process cycle. When you have contact, you sense to feel to focus. You sense to feel to focus. And in the process, you're transferring to a self to inform the brain that the body has to be managed, controlled, and focused as its emotion moves center stage, where in the past, I've allowed it to blunt my neurologic energies from moving into a place where I could be fed positive energy, action, and feelings of emotion, thought, and reflection as forward feed. Instead, I'm now understanding how to understand the environmental influence that feeds the negative energy into me that makes me feel like I just don't care because the pain, hurt, and sadness is overwhelming in my sense path. And I haven't had a mentor to help me learn how to transfer myself through that pain, hurt, and sadness to feelings of care for self. I just said it again, care for self. And then other people, because yourself and other people are relative, as is the environment, but you're structuring it. Contact, self, interaction, other people, cooperation, environment. Now the brain's in the lead of the body. Your state of mind, your mood states are now evolving because from the inside out, you are challenging those previous displays of negative energy or what happened or what continues to happen. I mean, you're stopping it from impacting your ability to perform. And we're talking about sense and receive path research. Your ability to perform sense and receive path research to recover from a negative sense of self that was consumed by the environment and what happened and will continue to happen before you understood your brain from the inside out. This is Brain Talk. Talk Straight Live. Thank you.